Just let me play the organ for a second, will ya? Yeah, alright, fine, real quick. Make it quick. Yeah, I told you I could play. I told you.
Hey, not bad.
Told you.
What? Pretty fresh. And it does. Gentle mixture. The fun one. Oh, you so bad. Oh, you so bad. Yeah, tell you. She walk hardcore, rocker, hardcore, rocker, hardcore, rocker, hardcore, rocker. Why she keep going on and on with every word of the song? Every word you see, I can see that she's high, oh, and she's partially gone. It's like a hardcore ocean wall. It's like a hardcore ocean wall. Let's go, sexy lady, hit the floor. Come, she comes to steal the show. Our sexiness a overflow. Watch out, she doesn't mash up the place and watch out the hips never gyrate and she die and make up the face and boom, 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 down the place and under some serious meditation. Want me to pull up in her station. She for just give me the invitation to a overnight demonstration. Bada me, bada boom, bada bang bang. This is my style, come from me sing thing. From me see you, me know what you're thinking. Me no normal, girl, you know man a kingpin. What she want. Oh, you so bad. Oh, you so bad. What? You keep going on and on.
Wish I'd keep down that racket. Charles, you need to work on your form. To keep your eyes on that birdie.
These grapes are perfectly aged.
My friend, me a wait on a girl like you from when loving everlasting with no end. Make you count 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, why do you think I'm for hard with a good little face? And your hip and broad, me real long time like a real old dog. Girl, you win, run come tell everyone. Real general, me no zoom, me no sarge. My feet well, me go park in a garage with a wind double jam, come in with turbocharge. Mama see, mama sa, mama kusa. Keep going on and on.
I told you I could play. I told you.
Minneapolis, a cycler's paradise, where massive cherries are attached to even larger spoons, where the seasons seem to change day to day, but the love of biking remains the same. The Twin Cities are the proud home of the Nice Ride organization. Sponsored by Blue Cross Blue Shield and supported by local businesses, the Nice Ride program provides an affordable, convenient bike sharing system. Rated amongst the top biking cities in the U.S., the Twin Cities currently has over 170 miles of designated cycling paths. There are so many ways to ride. Uptown fixed-gear riders, college students cycling to class, and people renting Nice Ride bikes buzz around the city, giving Minneapolis its unique big city, small town flavor. Support our cyclists and their sponsors. Hop on a bike today. Live healthy and ride far.
For years, the sun has risen and set upon the seas, where there exist legends of a creature said to live within these waters. A creature that has been said to be part human and part fish. We know these creatures as mermaids. There are several reasons as to why merfolk, as we have depicted them, could not live within our ocean waters. For one, they would freeze to death. Warm-blooded mammals and cold-blooded fish could not cohabitate in the same body. Merfolk also could not sustain a population growth since they do not have any rational means of reproduction, and they would have no biologically proper way of digesting their food. Even if these challenges could be met, however, the harsh underwater climate would make merfolk far more adept for ocean life, and they would not share human facial and body features. They would be longer and leaner than what our pop culture has made mermaids out to be, and their limbs would also be webbed to help with propulsion. The hips would also not have a pelvic bone, so they wouldn't be as wide, which would allow them to move through the water more quickly. And they would not have scales on one half of their body and skin on the other. They would have smooth skin similar to that of a shark or a dolphin, which would help water move around them more easily. They would also be hairless, instead having streamlined fins which would run down their backs. Merfolk would also be carnivorous, with sharp teeth to help them tear their food, and they would have large jaws to help them catch their prey quickly. This is but a hypothetical appearance of what a mermaid could look like if they existed in our world. As you can see, there is little resemblance to the pop culture creature with which we are so familiar with. Though legends of half-human, half-fish seem archaic, mermaids are not merely dusty relics of bygone days. The truth is, they are nothing but a fisherman's tale, but the fantasy and lore surrounding them will forever keep their existence strong.
Space mining. It sounds like something from science fiction, but is an idea that is gathering steam as a lucrative venture. In the very near future, we may see companies start to harvest the valuable minerals and ore from asteroids for use on Earth. The solar system is a big place though. So how do we know where to start? Companies may launch probes that use spectrographs to measure the light reflected from asteroids. This will let us know what kind of ores might be beneath its surface, and we can then focus on the most valuable asteroids. So why are we doing this? What do we have to gain? Our home planet is slowly running out of resources. We can't just make more gold or iron. Asteroids, on the other hand, contain large amounts of valuable material relative to their size. The value of an average S-type asteroid, which is about 10 meters in size, is about $22 million. They contain metals like nickel and cobalt, as well as precious metals such as gold and platinum. These small asteroids are hardly the most valuable, though. One of the largest asteroids is a 241 Germania. It is worth an estimated $98 trillion. Once we find a suitable S-type asteroid, we'll launch a ship with enough mass to make it orbit the Earth, or our moon depending on its size. After it has entered into a stable orbit around the moon, we'll send a drone with a magnetic rape that will sweep the surface of the asteroid and collect the ore that lies on the surface. Another way for us to gather valuable metals is for us to take them from some of our many moons in the solar system. A ship containing a 3D printer will be launched to build a base of operations from scratch. This 3D printer will be used to make everything that is needed by the mining operation, from bolts to large structural components. We can even create more 3D printers to increase the production of parts. Shaft mining, a method utilized on Earth, would be used to dig a large shaft into the moon and then use machines or explosives to remove the ore. The operation would extract large chunks of material and transfer them to a facility to be broken down, making it easier to transport back to Earth. High-pressure systems can empty almost instantly into vacuum containers. Using an electric rail system, full containers will be launched from the base into the moon's orbit until collected. Our planet cannot sustain human life indefinitely, and so we have to look to the stars and the vast number of resources that lay out there waiting for us to claim them.
Who wants a fish? Who wants a fish? Come and get your fish. It's pretty good in your belly. There you are. Best fish. Much thanks.
그 방송이 끝나고 그 다음날 리허설을 하는데
Thanks.
He will be wearing on his head a paper bag.
Welcome, aspiring paranormal private eyes. Today we'll be following Tim. He'll be here to help us out as we prepare for our ghost hunting expedition. First things first, let's get a little background behind the ghosts you'll be hunting. Be sure to take notes. There are 5 main types of ghosts: orbs, ectoplasms, vortexes, shadow ghosts, and apparitions. Orbs appear as balls of light and travel very fast. They're the most common, but are also the hardest to validate, as cameras can make similar effects from dust, insects, and reflections. Ectoplasms often appear as cloudy, swirling mists. You can find these ghastly ghouls outside, usually around battlefields or cemeteries. Vortexes appear as swirling funnels. They're usually in older buildings, but on rare occasions have been seen outside. Shadows are, well, shadows. They're usually spotted indoors, but have been seen outside. They're often confused with natural shadows. Apparitions are very rare, but can be seen in cemeteries, houses, and hotels, to name a few. Now that you have an understanding of what you're looking for, let's look at the tools of the trade. Let's start with the essential equipment you'll need. First is the EMF meter. EMF stands for electromagnetic field. Many believe ghosts give off a magnetic field. The meter detects fluctuations in the field. When the meter spikes, you may have a ghost on your hands. Any regular audio equipment can be used to capture electronic voice phenomena, or EVP. This is a common way to communicate. Keep noise to a minimum. Hit record and ask a question. You might not hear a response at the time, but when you go over the recording, it may have picked up one. It's best to have a video camera with a night vision function. If you can't see in the dark, then what's the use of the recording? You may also want a tripod so you can station the camera where you please. Motion sensors detect heat signatures. It's believed that a sudden drop in temperature means a ghost is near. Motion sensors detect this drop and signal an alarm. This might be useful for use in combination with the video camera. Even with all this high-tech gear, don't forget the value of low-tech items like a notepad and some pencils. It's a good idea to record what you find and take notes. First aid and a cell phone are key. You're going to places that are generally old and unsafe, so it's a good idea to plan accordingly. Be sure you get some background on the location of the upcoming ghost hunt so you're prepared. When you're on location, be sure to set up a command center. The idea is to set up a safe place where you can review video and audio recordings.
Anyone there? Ooh.
Those are the basics. Be safe and happy hunting.
there are 2 entrances to the building. If I go in the front and you go in the back, we can flank them and meet together in the middle.
Flank them? You've been watching way too many heist movies.
I'm just saying that if we divide forces, we are much more likely to come home with the prize.
You're serious? Are you sure you want to go through with this? I mean, this is kind of crazy.
Crazy is good. It's almost like we're Thelma and Louise.
Where's our Brad Pitt?
Oh.
And I'm not driving off a cliff with you. I mean, I love you and all, but not that much.
This is gonna be so exciting.
Calm down. First, we need to figure out how we can pull all of this off without getting caught.
Well, the main teller is right here. The security cameras are here, 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 and here. So, if we can manage to keep our backs to all of those, then we should be good.
Do we get to wear masks?
If we did, what kind were you thinking?
I do have my old strawberry shortcake mask from a long time ago.
Do you think that still fit you?
Probably not, no. Do you have any ideas?
Not sure yet.
What about the security guard? He'd have a gun, right?
Frank? Yeah, he does, but he's pretty old. I mean, he goes to the bathroom like 8 times a day.
Oh, gross.
I think we're all set. Now all we have to do is wait for the third. What are you doing?
Practicing my moves.
You look like an injured duck in a 3-legged race.
Which is why I'm practicing.
Okay then. Well, I'm gonna run and look for some masks.
All right. Everybody, stay calm.
Prostitution is often depicted like this, but in truth, it's an abusive trade of human beings. Sex trafficking is a portion of overall human trafficking. Right behind illegal arms sales, it is the world's second largest black market trade. It's estimated that over 100,000 children in the US are trafficked for sex, and the National Human Trafficking Resource Center received over 30,000 calls to their hotline in 2013 alone. These states had a greater number of calls to the hotline, and these states had fewer calls, but no state is immune. In combating the problem, it is essential to understand the connection between trafficking and prostitution. Most prostituted persons do not do their work willingly. 57% are victims of kidnapping, and many of the remaining victims were tricked into prostitution when they were as young as 12. Though most prostituted persons are female, about 1 in 7 are male. Prostituted persons are manipulated through physical and sexual violence, drug addiction, and threats to their family, as well as other forms of blackmail. Prostituted persons are not criminals, they are victims. But the criminals aren't just the pimps and traffickers who coerce people into prostitution. The people who are the demand of sex trafficking, informally known as Johns, are as much to blame for trafficking as the suppliers. Johns could be anyone, your contractor, doctor, teacher, pastor, or others. Whether or not Johns understand the circumstances of victims, their actions drive the supply. Many states in the US are taking a strong stand against trafficking. However, there are still some that need to do more. These states are making efforts to fight trafficking, but more can be done. Finally, these states have the weakest anti-trafficking legislation in the nation. Regardless of the location, legislation and law enforcement alone cannot end sex trafficking. The victims of sex trafficking need your help. Please contact your local anti-trafficking organizations to see how you can aid in the fight against modern-day slavery.
When a job needs doing, you need to make sure it's done right. Reach for the first and last tool you'll ever need. A durable, effective, and dependable Craftsman screwdriver. Craftsman makes anything possible.
Is my hair too big?
In the ocean, orcas rule as an apex predator, but are most commonly known as the killer whales that attract millions to aquariums around the world. But lying underneath the surface of these flashy shows, an argument is growing. Is captivity capable of providing a healthy and happy life for these large aquatic mammals? In the wild, orcas hunt a variety of creatures at depths up to 330 feet, yet the deepest aquarium holding performing orcas is only 40 feet. The herring and seals that orcas feed on in the wild provide freshwater vitamins that whales don't receive in captivity. To counteract this problem, aquarium staff attempt to provide supplemental hydration by feeding them ice, freshwater injected fish, and a gelatin supplement. But this isn't sufficient. Both a lack of space and dehydration are factors that lead to the collapse of a whale's dorsal fin, a visible sign of poor health. This abnormality is visible in less than 1% of wild orcas, but affects 100% of male orcas in captivity. The shallow waters put the orcas at risk of sunburns and disease-carrying insects. From a lack of stimulation in their environment, the whales have developed self-destructive behaviors such as gnawing on their tank's concrete and railings. This causes tooth damage and open wounds. In the wild, orcas swim 100 miles a day with pods of 5 to 50 family members. In captivity, unrelated whales are often placed together at random, creating tension that results in aggressive behavior to a degree not seen in wild pods, with no room to escape Many acts of aggression have resulted in serious injuries and even deaths for both whales and trainers. Once more, captive whales are sadly only living a fraction of the lifespan that their family members in the wild are documented to be living. Now is the time to stop supporting these facilities until they are willing to end orca performances and free captive whales into open sea pen sanctuaries, a structure built into a natural bay. Here they can live out their lives, experiencing the natural behaviors of the wild ocean. For more information on what you can do to help, please visit these links and organizations.
The Higgs boson. You may have heard of it, but what is it? And what would the world be like if there were no Higgs boson? Well, then there'd be no world. Its particles wouldn't be able to stick together, and they'd just float around aimlessly forever. And where would that leave you? Nowhere. That's where. You wouldn't exist. But let's step back for a minute. Or rather, let's step inward. All objects in the world consist of matter, and all matter is made up of atoms. Remember that atoms themselves are made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons, and those particles are made of even smaller subatomic particles, such as quarks. Scientists have created the standard model of particle physics to describe these subatomic particles and how they interact with each other. The standard model is able to be applied to many things, including electricity, magnetism, and radioactivity. But the standard model had a hole in it. Scientists were unable to fully explain how these subatomic particles gained mass. This is where the Higgs field comes in. It is a field of energy that exists throughout all of space, and it is composed of Higgs bosons, which are elementary particles. All subatomic particles pass through and interact with the Higgs field. Some of these particles, like photons, whiz through and barely interact with it, resulting in very small mass. Other particles, like quarks, drag through and interact with the field a lot, which results in a larger mass. With this, the Higgs boson is able to successfully fill in the hole in the standard model. Now, you might be wondering how in the world scientists were able to discover such a thing. In 1964, a group of scientists, including Peter Higgs, proposed the idea of a mechanism that would suggest the existence of the Higgs particle. This idea helped encourage the eventual design and creation of the world-famous Large Hadron Collider, or LHC. The LHC is an enormous ring-shaped machine located in Geneva, Switzerland. It sends beams of charged particles whirling around in opposite directions through the ring, constantly whacking them to make them fly faster and faster until finally, wham! They collide, leaving tracks of subatomic particles that scientists can study. Collisions expose many types of subatomic particles, and on rare occasions, a Higgs boson can be seen. This event finally occurred on July 4, 2012, and researchers were finally able to put the elusive puzzle piece into place. So what are we supposed to do with this information? What can the Higgs boson do for us? And what kinds of things will it bring in the future? Some scientists speculate that this discovery will help them gain insight into dark matter, which they think accounts for 23% of the universe. Other scientists say that the discovery will allow us to produce new particles that could have practical uses. No matter what new discoveries this knowledge will bring us in the future, we know we can thank the Higgs field for allowing us to exist in this world. Thanks, Higgs boson.